no other will do.
Have the gates of death ever been revealed to you? Or have you ever seen the gates of deep darkness, where depravity and malevolence find its home, where the strong crushes and breaks the weak and revels in the bloodshed, like a pig eating its grub, where you will find no honesty, dignity, and courage, but only wolves who masquerade in sheep's clothing, seeking to devour anyone who is naive, such as what we find in the secret occult society known as Freemasonry, a secret occult who has been with us for much longer than our nation America has been with us. It has hid in the shadows all this time, not only to the public, but even to its own members, to protect itself because of the atrocities it has committed throughout the years due to their continual satanic human sacrifices they commit to appease their god. Such practices can never be found out by the public, for if the public truly knew what they do, there would certainly be a worldwide manhunt for many
individuals.
Due to the vast amount of information that must be gone over to explain what this secret occult order truly is, I must break it down into a series, as it is way too much information to go over on one video. So just sit back and let me guide you through the darkness that has plagued our world since the beginning of time. To become a Mason, one must be invited and referred to by two abstaining Masons within their respective community. Then one fills out an application and is given a full background check. If you pass the background check and the lodge accepts you, you are then invited to go inside what's called a blue lodge, where you must undergo a ritual and an oath of silence. The oath of silence is this:
I, blank, of my own free will and accord, most solemnly and sincerely promise and swear that I will hail, ever conceal, and never reveal any of the secrets, arts, parts, point of points, or the Master Mason's degree to any person or persons whomsoever. All this I most solemnly, sincerely promise and swear, under no less penalty than that of having my body severed in two, my bowels taken from thence and burned to ashes, the ashes scattered before the four winds of heaven, that no more remembrance might be had of so vile and wicked a wretch as I would be, should I ever knowingly violate this, my Master Mason's obligation. So help me God, and keep me steadfast in the due performance of the same.
This is what a new initiate looks like during their initiation process into Freemasonry. They must take all their clothes and jewelry or anything on their person off. This is to symbolize letting go of anything one holds dear and giving complete allegiance to the society. You are blindfolded during every initiation to symbolize someone who lives in utter darkness before you receive the light of Freemasonry.
Well, when I was initiated, I was blindfolded and bound by a rope, and on your bare chest was thrust the point of a spear.
In witchcraft, we were initiated through a very involved ritual, initiation ceremony, wherein the candidate was led blindfolded, bound by a rope to the edge of the magic circle.
And the rope is around your neck and you're led forward. And up front, at the eastern end of the building, is a person who's a worshipful master. And you kneel down before him as if he were a god.
You were met by the high priest or high priestess at that time, usually with a sword to your chest.
When I went to enter the lodge, a sharp object was put to my left breast. And I was warned that should I reveal any of the secrets of Freemasonry, to know what to expect.
When you're presented before the high priest, a sword is held against your chest, and you actually take a blood oath, promising to remain faithful to the secrets of witchcraft.
Well, when you are in the room, this blindfold is taken away from you, and this is a time when they say that you're coming from darkness into light.
During the initiation ceremony, the initiate is led by the lieutenant of the high priest and is challenged at the edge of the circle by someone saying, "Who goes there?" And the answer is, "One from the world of darkness."
In Masonry, the prayers are ended with "so mote it be."
Oh, and one of the other aspects of or distinctives of the craft was that we would always end any spell or ritual where we released the power, this is where the power was released, with the word "so mote it be."
From here, you work your way up to the 3rd degree, where you are then given a choice to follow 2 different paths: the Scottish Rite or the York Rite. The Scottish Rite has 32 degrees, and the York Rite has 12 degrees. These degrees are a gradual process in which an initiate must go through a series of initiations, rituals, and oaths in order to learn the secrets
of the higher degrees.
The rituals, oaths, and initiations that Masons must go through on their path to enlightenment are extremely dark and mysterious. Some examples of them can be found in the Scottish Rite Masonry, illustrated by Albert G. Mackey, a 33rd degree Freemason himself. Here it shows during a higher degree initiation, a Mason must drink wine out of a human skull. During the initiation into the 30th degree, it involves initiates to stab human skulls. There is also one where initiates blindfolded must go through a tunnel of their fellow Masons while they beat and mock them. Notice the candidate who's seeking admission into the next degree to receive more light must first be humiliated and intimidated, a common theme found throughout all of the rituals. The rituals are designed to deliver the lodge complete loyalty from its new initiates, using fear and intimidation, to scare the initiate into not even daring to think about revealing its secrets. It is also designed like this because the dark secrets it holds would be extremely dangerous to the highest members if ever released to the public. They would be hunted down and killed. So as to avoid that, they only reveal the secrets to an initiate if they know the initiate will not reject or despise its secrets. This is also how you get invited into the 33rd degree, which few Masons rarely ever do. One thing people do not understand about Freemasonry is that it is a fraternity within a fraternity, as stated by Manly P. Hall in The Lectures of Ancient Philosophy, who was also named Freemason of the 20th Century by Scottish Rite Journal in 1990. He states, Freemasonry is a fraternity within a fraternity, an outer organization concealing an inner brotherhood of the elect, one visible and the other invisible. The visible society is a splendid camaraderie of free and accepted men, enjoined to devote themselves to ethical, educational, fraternal, patriotic, and humanitarian concerns. The invisible society is a secret and most august fraternity, whose members are dedicated to the service of a mysterious Arcanum Arcanonum. Arcanum Arcanonum means the mystery of mysteries behind astrology, magic, and alchemy. So basically, Freemasonry is separated into 2 separate organizations, with one knowing
while the other oblivious.
One devotes themselves to what most of society would deem as good nature, which is why you see them doing so many charities, while the other devotes themselves to the hidden secrets behind all astrology, alchemy, and magic. Freemasons also like to claim that Freemasonry is not a religion, but what does the Freemason of the 20th century have to say about that? In his book, The Lost Keys of Freemasonry, he states, Masonry is essentially a religious order. Also, Albert Pike, who was called the Grand Commander Sovereign Pontiff of Universal Freemasonry, stated in his book, Morals and Dogma, quote, every Masonic lodge is a temple of religion, and its teachings are instruction in religion. Albert Pike also stated in the same book, quote, the Blue Degrees, or also known as Blue Lodge, are but the outer court of portico of the temple. Part of the symbols are displayed there to the initiate, but he is intentionally misled by false interpretations. It is not intended that he shall understand them, but it is intended that he shall imagine he understands them. Their true explanation is reserved for the adepts, the princes of Masonry. The whole body of the royal and sacerdotal art was hidden so carefully centuries since in the high degrees, and that it is even yet impossible to solve many of the enigmas which they contain. It is well enough for the mass of those called Masons to imagine that all is contained in the Blue Degrees, and whoso attempts to indecisive them will labor in vain. End quote. The whole body of the royal art was hidden so carefully in the higher degrees, and the ultimate liar lives inside the triangle above the pyramid. So which triangle and pyramid am I talking about? I'm talking about this one. First, you might say, well, how is Freemasonry related to the United States of America? Well, because of the author I mentioned earlier, Manly P. Hall, in his book, The Secret Destiny of America. And look, the same exact symbol can be found on the back of the US $1 bill. And if that isn't enough to convince you, then just look upon this. This is from a 1960s copy of New Age magazine, which shows an official organ of the Supreme Council, 33rd, Ancient and Accepted Scottish Rite, or also known as the Freemasonry Southern Jurisdiction. It explains what the symbols mean on the back of the US $1 bill. There is also an interesting speech from US President John F. Kennedy that relates to Freemasonry and how they control the education system, which is why you were never taught this in school. His speech was done on April 27th of 1961, and here is what he says.
Ladies and gentlemen, the very word secrecy is repugnant in a free and open society, and we are, as a people, inherently and historically opposed to secret societies, to secret oaths, and to secret proceedings. For we are opposed around the world by a monolithic and ruthless conspiracy that relies primarily on covert means. I am asking your help in the tremendous task of informing and alerting the American people.
Now remember, JFK was assassinated. It couldn't possibly have anything to do with him revealing a secret society who controls and manipulates the world. That's just conspiracy talk. Or is it really? Symbolism is the hidden language of the Freemasons. They use it in order to communicate freely to each other in the open, while at the same time concealing what they are really saying to the public. Some of the signs' meanings are revealed to us in Richard's Monitor of Freemasonry. Here we see the sign of the Master of the Second Veil. Here we see an illustration of the secret handshake that fellow Masons greet each other with. And here we see the sign of silence. It is meant to remind those in the order to remember the oath of secrecy that they made, as to protect the secrets of the Freemason organization. Another sign which I personally believe to be the most important one to know is called the all-seeing eye. This sign has multiple interpretations depending on who you ask, but I will explain the common ones here in this video, and later its true meaning in the future videos. To some, the all-seeing eye was derived from Egyptian scriptures. It is commonly referred to as the Eye of Horus. Horus, the Egyptian god, is often represented by a falcon, or a man with a falcon head. He was also known as the god of the sky by his worshippers. There are many versions of how his eye became known as the all-seeing eye, but probably the most popular one narrates that when he was fighting against his cousin, Set for his father Osiris's throne, Horus's left eye was damaged and cut into 6 pieces. However, the legend says that the gods restored Horus's eye. Because of this major eye injury and the healing, Horus's eye got its reputation as the all-seeing eye and was believed to carry healing and protection properties. This is just one reason why many people today consider Horus's eye as the all-seeing eye. But to the lower degrees of Freemasonry, not the higher ones, it symbolizes the omnipresence of the great architect of the universe, or the creator, who is watching everything that happens in this world. Therefore, to them, it symbolizes the supreme being, that all human beings are under the same sky and under the watchful eye of a superior power. Each of these symbols are constantly used by famous or high-status individuals. Here are some of the examples. For the all-seeing eye, literally look up any of your favorite actors, musicians, politicians, and leaders, and I guarantee at least 90% of them will be seen throwing up this sign, demonstrating their loyalty in plain sight. We also have the sign of silence, all demonstrating their oath to secrecy. Here we have the sign of the Master of the Second Veil. As you can see, this club is a mix of everyone. Politicians, musicians, famous actors, you name it. They're all a part of it. This is a global organization, and if you don't believe me, then just take a look at what David Rockefeller said.
We have before us the opportunity to forge for ourselves and for future generations. A new world order.
We are on the verge of a global transformation. All we need is the right crisis, and the nations will accept the New World Order. Now, where else do we see this New World Order? Well, take your $1 bill out again and look at the words on the back. The words on the back of the US dollar say Novus Ordo Seclorum. It is Latin and it translates to New Order of the Ages. If this reference isn't enough for you to believe that this is an international organization with the most powerful and influential people in it, then just take a look at what the founder of the Satanic Church, Anton LaVey, said, quote, "Those who naively think that politics and magic ritual do not mix. Mason orders have contained the most influential men in many governments, and virtually every occult order has Masonic roots." End quote. So here we learn from literally the founder of the Church of Satan, saying it is naive to believe that politics and magic ritual do not mix, and that Masonic orders contain the most influential men in many governments. He even says that virtually all occult orders have Masonic roots, so they all stem from Freemasonry, whether they have foreknowledge of it or not. This is quite the bombshell news, because here not only do we see a tie between Freemasonry and governments around the world, but we also see a tie between Freemasonry
and Satanism.
Unfortunately, I have to end the video here. Again, this is going to be a series because of the amount of information that must be gone over to fully articulate what this order truly is. So far, we have learned that all occults and rites stem from Freemasonry. We have also learned that Freemasonry is tied to the United States of America and other governments all around the world, so this is an international organization. We also know that they use symbolism, rituals, and blood oaths within their order to keep their secrets from the public by scaring their initiates to never reveal anything. We know a little bit about the secret in which they hold, but not fully, which is that they guard the secret behind astrology, alchemy, and magic. All in all, we are just scratching the surface to this order. So come back again and follow me farther and farther down the pits of hell.